So you're doing an L chip.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Going to Grafton County
Grafton
Registry.
Churches Corporation.
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I know it's the last one.
Chris, do you know what the nature of their repairs is at the church?
At the church, I don't, I think it has to do with the many layers in the roof and condensation but I specifically didn't even really want to know too much about it.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's a weird design, when you start doing that.
If I remember correctly, it's a steel frame building with structural insulated panels over the top of it.
I don't know, but,
And we have, each time this happens, we have a copy at the town.
We get to keep, do you want some of these or do we get all of these?
you can have all of them.
Okay. Well, because usually what ends up happening is all these subdivisions and have a file. Either there's like a folder for each subdivision and there's a stack of these. So that
Rolled up
usually folded and
in a file cabinet.
yeah. And then, so like 5-10 years go by, someone's curious, they can grab one, it's not the end of the world if they don't bring it back, that kind of thing.
And that lives in Sarah's office.
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yeah. Here's those.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're gonna. Perfect.
Okay.
I'll chip. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, okay. No, what we've been doing is.
Now you need to tell me how much I owe you. How did I?
I don't think you owe us anything.
You gonna post it?
Yeah, you're right, $10, please. That's, I was like, I almost, I was like, what?
Yeah,
Yes.
everything goes up, I know that.
It's been our,
I know these tubes, they used to be a couple bucks, now they're like $5.
do you have the lid to this?
Pardon?
To the lid to press back on those.
Yeah.
Caps. So thank you. Okay. Finish filling this out a little bit.
This is
Do you want
Sarah's,
this,
which is the filing.
I usually do. I think we need to let her know so that that part can be made aware.
No,
It's your $10 countergraph.
Telegraph, please, yeah.
It's not skip. No, countergraph.
we're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Chris, thank you for all your years of service to the town.
Yeah,
It was, it was an enjoyable town to live in.
yeah, I would agree.
It really was. And,
When did you leave? When did you move?
let's see. Bought that little, the Campbell's house, then moved down to the center, and then it was in about 98 probably, something like that.
Were you ever selectman here?
Yep. Yeah,
When-
I was, I was selectman with Al Dadman.
Okay.
Al lived up the road in the house with the granite columns
Okay, yes.
on the front porch. Al Dadman and, let's see, Al and Bob Bryant.
And Bryant was up on Idle Land Road?
Idle Land, the big
Big house.
Garrison house
Yes.
or whatever it is up there. Yeah. I was walking down the road surveying, and they drove up, stopped and said, "Hi Chris, you want to be a selectman?"
They must have got you at a weak moment.
Yeah.
I don't think she'd be out walking around.
So, well, what it was, is see, Clint Williams died. Well, he was
Okay.
he was the other selectman, and he died. So they needed to come up with somebody, appoint somebody, I
Oh,
guess.
so they appointed
This
you.
is Dick's dad.
Pardon me?
This is Richard's dad.
Yes,
Clint, that Clint.
yes, it's, was Richard's father and Clint's grandfather. Great-grandfather, yeah, it was Chris's grandfather.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so
They
a lot
lived
of
in a little-
generations of Williams.
Lived in a little teeny house up on Williams Hill. Tiny little house.
Yeah,
Clinton and Elsie. And of course, they knew everything about the town.
I'm
In there, and
sure they
they
did.
would dig through the deeds, and they had, it was, that was the way it was back then.
Where you just walk down the road and someone says, "Hey, you want to be a selectman?"
Well, this way.
I'm sure. We're not just ridiculous.
So, but anyway, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Have a good ride back, safe ride back.
I will be back here sometime this year. Jen Thorson is the state up on
Yeah,
the Wild Meadow.
Who's
Okay.
executing that? Or executing that?
Who's the executive?
Yeah, who's the,
That would be the daughter,
Emily?
Emily.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
okay, we'll be here.
yep,
All right, thanks again.
Have a safe trip back.
yeah, thank you.
All right, anything big to share here? From either,
Well,
In the department?
the selectmen met with Avatar a few weeks ago, and this is our reassessment year, or statistical update, however you want to call it, so that's happening this year. And they'll go through the process, and everybody will get their letters, and you'll be able to review that with all the other properties in town. There'll be a spot where you can compare, and there'll be an opportunity for anybody who wishes to go over their assessment with Avatar. That opportunity will come up. So that's coming up this year. Expect, like I've been saying, expect sticker shock, because the last time it was done was 5 years ago, and that's before the boom with the pandemic. So
right.
I expect prices to double or so.
Let's not forget though that the tax rate is just simple arithmetic.
The
based on
taxes,
that.
yeah, that's right, your tax burden should stay the same, more or less, because
The
not
tax burden is
everybody's
much-
will rise at the same level. They say if you have a mobile home, those are gonna rise, the percentage of their rising is gonna be a little bit greater.
Oh, interesting.
And if you have waterfront property, forget it, that's always gonna be higher than the rest. So those two things,
All the half moon lots that Chris was saying sold in the 60s for $400.
right?
Yeah.
Would Avatar ever call us as landowners?
For,
I got a phone call that, it's hard to understand, but they said they were calling about, something about my
Assess-
Yeah, an assessment.
Does Avatar do that?
I hung up because I didn't.
Not,
Yeah.
not that I know of.
I've-
Sometimes if
I've
they have
got-
trouble visiting somebody, there might be a call put out.
I've gotten calls from them before. They have, on the property cards, there are usually notes made whether somebody
So we,
requests to be notified beforehand or if Avatar requires permission each time they want to visit.
so, some people are very hostile to the assessor,
For real.
for real, yeah.
I want the job.
You
Yeah.
don't want the job,
Mm.
you know, and sometimes it gets threatening, and there's also something called an insurance inspector that people confuse with the town's assessor, you know. They just go around looking at what the properties are they're going to insure.
Mm.
And the assessor goes around, I mean, he's been around for 4 or 5 years visiting the properties, you know, about 20% a year. And so they have all the data right now, it's just a matter of, you know, resorting the data. You know, it's pressing a button, the computer spits out different values based on the data
What
that
they
they
saw.
have fed in. The software does that.
Mm.
So it's important that your property card is accurate. So you might want to look at your property card to make sure it looks like what you really have. And that may save a problem later. And you know, what's going to happen, everybody's prices are going to go up so much that I know there's going to be a lot of pushback. 5 years ago when we did it, there was pushback then, and that wasn't as bad as it's going to be.
I don't know why anyone would care if the budget's the same, the tax rate will, you know.
We'll go down.
It'll go down.
It'll go down, and the tax rate always does go down the year of assessment because of that. But what people are scared of, they say is, well, then it'll creep back up again, which budgets always creep up, you know, especially with inflation.
I mean, if the social services remain the same and your property becomes worth more, all that means is that you just gained equity.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that means. Like, it doesn't cost any more to live there. It just means that if you wanted to leave, you could sell it for more. It's like, and I wish people would grasp that.
Well, you know, it's the same thing with when you buy property, you know, the market tumbles. Well, you don't lose money unless you sell. And it's like that in the stock market too. You don't lose money unless you have to sell.
Well,
So these days, don't sell because there's weird things going on out there.
great. All right.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, good times. Paul, anything?
I was gonna say, I could give you a brief update on the capital improvement
Yeah.
committee, which just met just beforehand. We are still fleshing out the capital improvement plan spreadsheet. And we have some holes missing, and so the committee members are going out to the department heads to gather the missing information. And hopefully by next month, we will have a pretty well, you know, pretty filled out, draft to disseminate.
Awesome.
And didn't we also vote to make it public?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?